Part 10. The stairwell down to the brick corridor had never felt narrower to Jordan than it did walking behind Delgado, watching an ordinary man in an ordinary tie descend towards something none of his training had prepared him for. Gilbert kept up a running patter the whole way down. Dates, maintenance logs, the kind of confident, boring detail that makes an auditor's eyes glaze over exactly enough to stop looking too closely at anything else. It was, Jordan thought, genuinely impressive. 22 years of managing something far worse than a district audit had clearly taught him a few tricks. Delgado took his photos of the compressor hall dutifully, clipboard balanced on one arm, commenting once that he hadn't realised facilities this old were still in service anywhere in the district. Pruitt, hovering nearby with the ease of a man who'd rehearsed being unremarkable for exactly this purpose, agreed that it really was remarkable, wasn't it, how well the old equipment had held up. For a while, it seemed like it might actually work. Then Delgado stopped, halfway down a row of silent, frost-furred machines, and frowned at something Jordan couldn't immediately place. "Is it always this cold down here?" he asked. "Or is that just the one unit?" Jordan followed his gaze. The cold near Unit 3 had a visible edge to it, a faint haze in the air, like the difference between a walk-in freezer and something colder still. The way you'd feel standing too close to dry ice.
"That unit runs a lower set point," Gilbert said smoothly, already steering Delgado toward the stairwell before the sentence had even finished. "Older refrigerant blend. Inefficient, honestly. It's actually on the list for decommissioning, which I'm sure will make your report a lot shorter." It was a good save. Jordan watched Delgado's shoulders relax slightly at the mention of decommissioning, the specific relief of a bureaucrat hearing that a problem is already scheduled to become someone else's. They almost made it back to the stairwell clean. Then Delgado glanced back, just once, the way people do when leaving any large, strange space. And Jordan saw his whole expression change. Not fear exactly, more like the specific unease of a man realizing he'd just heard something breathe somewhere behind him, slow and enormous, and had decided almost instantly that he hadn't heard it at all. "Probably the pipes," he said, to nobody in particular, and kept walking. Nobody corrected him. Nobody agreed either. They just walked him back up, all four of them, the ordinary warehouse floor arriving around them like a held breath finally let out.
Nobody spoke again until Delgado's grey sedan had actually pulled out of the lot, tail lights fading into the ordinary morning traffic, like nothing at all unusual had happened underneath his feet an hour before. "That was close," Jordan said, finally, once the door to Gilbert's office was shut behind the three of them. "Closer than close," Gilbert said, and for the first time since she'd known him, Jordan watched his hands actually shake slightly as he set his clipboard down. He heard it. Not clearly, not enough to name what he heard, but he heard something. And some part of him already knows that, whether he lets himself believe it or not. "So what happens to people who hear it and don't understand what they heard?" Jordan asked. Pruitt was the one who answered, quietly, like a man reciting something he'd hoped never to need again. "Usually nothing," he said. "Most people convince themselves it was pipes, or wind, or their own tired mind playing tricks after a long week, and they go home and forget it within a month." "And the ones who don't forget it?" Jordan pressed. Nobody answered that one at all, which told her everything she needed to know about how the next few weeks were probably going to go. Delgado's report, when it came back a week later, was almost comically dry. A paragraph about aging refrigeration infrastructure, a recommendation for scheduled decommissioning within 18 months, a note that the facility should budget accordingly. 18 months, Pruitt repeated, reading over Gilbert's shoulder in the break room. That's not nothing. That's actually more time than I expected to buy. It's not a fix, Gilbert said. It's a delay with corporate letterhead on it. Eventually, somebody's going to show up with a work order and a crew, and they're going to want that compressor plant gone, not maintained. 18 months is still 18 months, Jordan said. We use it. What none of them said out loud, not yet, was the other thing Delgado's visit had confirmed, that a stranger, an outsider with no idea what he was standing next to, had come close enough for the building to notice him, had, for just a moment, heard it breathe. Marnie put it plainest when Jordan told her that night. It doesn't just wait for people who go looking for the door anymore, she said. Sleeping things still notice noise nearby. Sooner or later, it's going to want to know who else has been standing close enough to hear it dream. 3 nights after the audit closed, Jordan's phone buzzed at 2 a.m. with a text from a number she didn't recognize. Not a routing code this time. Words. I think there's something wrong with the freezer compressors, it read. Delgado. Sorry to bother you off the clock. Got your number from the site contact sheet. I keep dreaming about that room. Every night since the visit, same dream. Is that normal for facilities work? Feels like a strange question to ask, but I don't know who else would understand. Jordan sat with her phone in the dark of her apartment for a long time before she answered anything at all. She thought about Marnie's warning, about sleeping things noticing noise nearby, about a district auditor 3 states removed from Mostex lying awake somewhere in an ordinary house, dreaming about a room that had heard him almost as clearly as he'd almost heard it. She typed, deleted, typed again. Finally settled on something true enough not to be a lie and vague enough not to be a confession. Old buildings do strange things to sleep, she wrote. If the dreams get worse, tell someone. Don't ignore it. She hit send and then sat there a long while longer, wondering how many other names, over how many decades, had started exactly this way. Not with a door, not with a button, but with a dream that wouldn't leave someone alone. End of part 10.